Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annetta Felix. President Muhammadu Buhari has nominated Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, as a substantive CJN. The president forwarded Muhammad's name to the Senate for approval on Thursday, and it was read at plenary by Senate President Ahmed Lawan. The National Judicial Council had on Wednesday said that it recommended to President Muhammadu Buhari the appointment of Muhammad as a substantive CJN, and they said this in a statement by its Director of Information, Soji Oye, on Wednesday. Justice Muhammad was sworn in as the acting CJN on January 25th, immediately after the then CJN, Justice Walter Onuwen. Onuwen was suspended by Buhari, and Lawan also read another letter from Buhari seeking the approval of the Red Chamber to enable him appoint 15 special advisors. Newly elected President of the United Nations General Assembly, Tijani Mohamed Bande, has pledged to be fair and transparent in executing his duties. Bande said this after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa in Abuja. He also promised to address challenges faced by African countries and ensure unity among all member states of the United Nations. The UNGA is one of the 6 principal organs of the United Nations responsible for appointing non-permanent members to the Security Council and the Secretary General of the United Nations of the body, among others.
This presidency is not a Nigerian presidency. It's a presidency given to Nigeria as a member of the African community. It is the turn of Africa to produce the President of the General Assembly, and Nigeria was unopposed by the continent and unanimously supported by all 193 countries of the world. So these are the issues we raised, and to also pledge that because at home we are making improvements, we shall also show that we can also give leadership to the global community on matters that we have committed to doing. We'll do them to the best of our ability. We will try to create harmony within the assembly. We'll listen. We'll stick with what is right. We'll continue to raise the profile not only of Nigeria, but of the continent as a serious continent equal to any in the world. And the international community has given support to the candidature. We'll therefore also continue to discharge our duties in such a way that when next a Nigerian is looking for a position, it will be known that Nigeria produces people who stick with what they say.
President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the Nigerian Security Printing and Minting Company, NSPMC, to solely produce and personalize all Nigerian e-passports and related documentation. The directive was contained in a statement by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina. According to the statements, the renewed responsibility will end every existing memorandum of understanding and contracts on printing by other institutions and companies. Now, the company has the objective of producing the nation's currency notes and coins for the Central Bank of Nigeria, as well as security documents for ministries, departments and agencies of government, banks and other blue-chip companies. Now, it's the largest banknotes and security documents specialist printing company in West Africa. Now, there's been another protest by members of the Islamic movement in Nigeria, IMN, in Maryland, Lagos. The protesters are demonstrating against the continued incarceration of their leader, Ibrahim el-Zakzaky. They gathered in their numbers, carrying placards and pictures of Zakzaky demanding his release. In Abuja, the IMN has laid to rest 2 of its members who were killed following a face-off with the Nigerian police. According to the group, the dead members, aged between 14 and 16, were in protest trains to the National Assembly, Abuja, before they were intercepted by the police.
Lagos had always set a standard for fighting for human rights, and that is why we felt that we should come here and speak first to Lagosians. But secondly, we also need to speak to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Ahmed Tinubu is a person that has one of the highest stake in the present democratic dispensation in Nigeria. If you have 21 million followers and your followers gather 1,000 naira each, that is 21 billion solid naira. If we were people that want war, we could buy 21 billion naira worth of weapons. But we are peaceful people. Our leader has taught us to be people of peace, and we love Nigeria and we do not want anything bad to happen to our country.
El Toseki has been arrested for the past 4 years now without any offense, and the court of law has granted him bail. And the government and the president who swear to adhere to the Constitution of Nigeria has refused to obey the court. 1,000 people were killed in Zaria. They were not having guns. They were killed right inside their house. And the government of the day set up a panel, and that panel has come out and indicted the government. And the paper has been given to the government. The federal government has put that paper under the carpet. What we are asking is that the president should not be a dictator. He should obey the rule of law in order not to cause anarchy.
Meanwhile, members of the IMN are mourning the death of their members in protests which began on Tuesday. They laid them to rest in a solemn ceremony in Abuja.
The health of our leader is seriously deteriorating as a result of the heavy metal poisoning in him discovered. 2 heavy metals were discovered, lead and cadmium. The concentration of lead in the body of the leader of the Islamic movement in Nigeria is 201.71, which is even 20 times higher than the concentration allowable in a human body. And then considering cadmium also, the range allowable in any human body is 0.03 to 0.1. But the level of that which is in the shark body is 14. So you see, it is really life-threatening. So we have been calling that the government should immediately release our leader to go and tend to his deteriorating health.
A coalition agent of the People's Democratic Party in the Kaduna South local government of Kaduna State during the February 23, 2019 presidential polls, Yahaya Shiko, said the results of the polls were doctored in his presence to favor the All Progressives Congress. Shiko said this while testifying before the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal as the 20th petitioner's witness. Shiko said the poll in his area was marred by overvoting and allocation of figures to political parties that participated in the election. Under cross-examination by APC's lawyer Charles Edosonwo, Shiko said his account of irregularities during the election in his area was based on the reports received from polling unit agents and the ones he personally witnessed. The petitioners PDP and Atiku Abubakar are challenging the victory of Presidents Muhammadu Buhari and the APC at the polls. And now to judicial matters. The People's Democratic Movement, PDM, has filed a motion seeking to withdraw from the petition filed by its presidential candidate against President Muhammadu Buhari and 2 others. Now, this follows a disagreement between the national chairman of the party, Frank Igwebudike, and the presidential candidate, Amin Chihabu, on whether or not to continue with the prosecution. While Igwebuke said some party leaders want the petition withdrawn on the grounds that it has a slim chance of success, Aminchi and some other members of the party's National Working Committee are insisting on going on with the case. The party and its presidential candidate had brought the petition challenging their exclusion from participating in the February 23rd presidential election.
The party interest is simply that they want to withdraw because they want the petition itself, haven't reviewed it. The evidence available doesn't support the interests of the party. The party wants the country to be peaceful as it is. The country is settling down gradually. All issues, insecurity and all of that, threat everywhere. I mean, the party is of the view that withdrawing is in the better interest of the party as well as the nation.
The party is not an individual property. The party has executive organs that are responsible for making decisions on behalf of the party. We have the National Working Committee, of which the chair of the president is only a member and can only cast a vote if there is a tie. Then we have the National Executive Committee, In the same manner, the chairman has only a single vote, which can only be casted in the event of a tie. But instructively, in this case, since the petition in this matter was filed in March, there has been no meeting of the People's Democratic Movement for the purpose of taking any decision in relation to this petition. And even if they did, by the decision of this court in the case of Hope Democratic Party, they cannot withdraw from this petition.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has met with resident electoral commissioners in Lagos State to review challenges encountered in the 2019 general elections. At the meeting which held in Lagos, southwest Nigeria, the electoral officers highlighted issues that hindered the smooth conduct of the polls with a view to finding lasting solutions for them. INEC has now resolved to implement new policies to ensure better conduct of future polls in the country.
At the end of this series of meetings and consultations, we are convinced that the Commission will learn vital lessons on the conduct of the general elections, successes, challenges, and the way forward. We consider the appraisal necessary because as a Commission, we are committed to the improvement of the nation's electoral process, of which performance evaluation by officials of the Commission and other stakeholders is actually very, very critical.
We need to begin 2023 from today. We need to understand what kinds of things we did in 2019 that may have a bearing on 2023. So it is important to begin to analyze the condition of election materials, ballot boxes, how many ballot boxes remain, how many are destroyed, what do we have in stock now, are we storing them well, you know, how, because there are ballot boxes that we have found close to the election that, that because of problems in storage, you know, were virtually totally destroyed. Storage is key, so we need to take stock, you know, of these things.
The federal government has cautioned Muslim pilgrims against taking banned substances to Saudi Arabia, noting that the act attracts a death penalty. Abike Dabiri Ebrewa, chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, said this when the inaugural flight of intending Muslim pilgrims to 2019 Hajj exercise in Saudi Arabia took off on Wednesday. Dabiri Ebrewa also reminded the pilgrims that kola nuts and prescription painkillers in large quantities have been banned in Saudi Arabia, and if found, attracts severe penalties. According to new Saudi Arabia regulations, over 65,000 Nigerians, excluding private operators, are slated to perform 2019 Hajj exercise in the Middle Eastern country. United Nations International Children's Education Fund, UNICEF, says 5 out of every 10 children are stunted as a result of severe acute malnutrition in Jigawa State. UNICEF's nutrition specialist Philomena Irene said this at a nutrition workshop. The permanent secretary of the Ministry of Health, Ahmed Dati, while delivering his remarks, said the Ministry of Health has introduced a program called Masaki to fight malnutrition using locally produced food. He says the Masaki program is still at a pilot stage in 3 local governments, but it has been approved and proven to be a workable policy in the state. Motorists commuting on the Lekki axis in Lagos will be exempted from paying toll fees between 6:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. and also at the peak period in the evening from 4:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu declared the Lekki-Epe Expressway and the Lekki-Ikoyi Link Bridge toll-free after a stakeholders meeting with Deputy Governor Obafemi Hamzat, among others. Sanwo-Olu also noted that the cost of the toll fare during the stipulated period will be borne by the government. As part of the measures being initiated to achieve free flow of traffic, Sanwo-Olu hinted that the mode of toll collection at the Ikoyi Link Bridge will be electronic. He said the new method of payment will take off in October and urged motorists plying the route to apply ahead for electronic access cards at Lagos Tolling Company in compliance with the new service. Nigeria presently has an estimated population of about 198 million people. And that's according to the Director General of the National Population Commission, Gaji Bello. The last time a population and housing census was conducted in Nigeria was in 2006. Since then, there's been no comprehensive and reliable census to ascertain the country's actual population. Adeshawa Odushoga now looks at some of the country's population challenges in this next report.
The World Population Day is observed on July 11 every year, aimed to shift the focus towards the urgency and the significance of issues related to population. Nigeria, being the giant of Africa, has proven its strength with its current population size, ranking the 7th most populated country in the world. But experts have said, despite this, the country is not in any population crisis.
What we have right now is not overpopulation. What we have now is leadership failure, both at the local government levels. Some local government areas are, apart from local government workers, just vacant, nothing else happening in those areas. If you're not a local government staff, you don't have a job. You are doing a petty farming, you don't have a job. You can't stay in those places. If you are even if you have just an SS3, you can't stay in your village. There's nothing to do there. So how then are you talking about overpopulation?
Population control in Nigeria has always been a challenge, especially with opinion leaders. Cultural beliefs and religious doctrines have hindered adherence to family planning strategy by the government.
The major issue, population. The doubling rate we have is very alarming. If we stop where we are, for our facilities, education, are going to catch up. It's quite a lot. Now to come and double this population next year is trouble. We must do something about our population. But it does not mean you must force population down. People must learn to plan their families. Cannot be forced. That should be systematized. That should be institutionalized.
Muslim religious leaders and the traditional rulers from the Muslim areas were brought together, and the message was, look, this issue of population. Now, in fact, they came from the angle of demographic dividend. And the demographic dividend refers to a situation where, look, because of the size of the population, because of the structure of the population, because of the fact that people now live longer than they used to do in the past.
The World Population Review puts Nigeria's population at 201 million, but the Director General of the National Population Commission, Gaji Bello, has insisted that Nigeria presently has an estimated population of about 198 million people. Established by the United Nations Development Programme in 1989, the World Population Day is celebrated for over 3 decades to raise awareness about solutions related to the issues of growing population across the world. Adeshawa Odushoga, TV360 Lagos, Nigeria.
You're still watching News Now on TV360 Nigeria. We'll be right back after this break. Do stay with us.
It's the 11th Wole Soyinka Center Media Lecture Series. Join the Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism to discuss good governance in Nigeria and mark the 85th birthday anniversary of Wole Soyinka, Africa's first Nobel laureate in literature. Theme: Rethinking Credible Elections, Accountable Democracy, and Good Governance in Nigeria. Date: Saturday, 13th July 2019. Venue: Musan Center, Onikon, Lagos. Time: 10 a.m. Speaker: Obiageli Ezekwesili, Senior Economic Advisor, Africa Economic Development Policy Initiative. Discussants: Amina Salihu, Senior Program Officer, MacArthur Foundation. Benga Sheson, Executive Director, Paradigm Initiative. Oluwale Osaze Uzi, Director, Voter Education and Publicity, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Rotimi Sankore, Chair, Editorial Board, Nigeria Info Radio Group. For inquiries, email wscij@wscij.org or call 0908-251-5179.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. you and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
You're welcome back. We have Oyi Adekule standing by for business. Hello, Oyi.
Hi, Aneta.
Please bring us up to speed with the latest in business today.
Well, the Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON, has confiscated substandard roofing sheets worth 38 million naira in Lagos, southwest Nigeria. The Director, Inspectorate and Compliance Department of the SON, Obiora Manafa, who made the announcement, said the roofing sheets did not meet the standard thickness of 0.15 millimeter. Manafa has now warned Nigerians to ensure they purchase high-quality products.
With the sole objective to eradicate substandard roofing sheets from the market. That's what we are doing now. So we have come here and we have seen substandard roofing sheets, galvanized steel roofing sheets, and we are moving all of them away for destruction. That is mandate given to us. The task force was given 13-point terms of reference, but the overall mandate is to eradicate substandard products from Nigerian market. If you look at the standard for galvanized steel roofing sheets, that's NIS 180. Stipulates the minimum thickness for the product. The minimum thickness is 0.15, but we have seen that most of the things we have here are below the minimum thickness. 0.13, 0.12, and so on and so forth. And this is something we don't want to allow to get into the market. So we are going through every nook and cranny of the country, even markets, warehouses, factories. Anywhere we see them, we move them away.
The Senate has passed resolutions to protect indigenous airlines from going into extinction due to multiple designations and multiple frequencies granted foreign airlines in Nigeria. The resolution followed a motion entitled Unfair Competition and Urgent Need to Protect Nigeria's Indigenous Airlines from Extinction, sponsored by Ifeanyi Uba, lawmaker representing Anambra State. Reacting to this, lawmakers were divided on the motion. While some believe there was an unfair competition, some say local airlines are guilty of bad management and are incapable of meeting the needs of the flying public.
Worried about the fate of indigenous airlines, with the spate of multiple designations given to foreign airlines. Notes further that besides multiple designations, foreign airlines are now being encouraged to do multiple frequencies to the country and within the country, which is not allowed in other countries. For instance, Turkish Airlines have just started Istanbul to Abuja, Abuja to Port Harcourt, Port Harcourt to Abuja, then Abuja to Istanbul. Lufthansa and Air France are also doing the same, thereby running indigenous airlines out of business.
And one of the greatest image problems we've had is that we do not have a national carrier flying the Nigerian flag, green, white, green, into other people's country. And that has called for concern. So airlines like Air Peace that have taken this bold step and gone this far must be encouraged. And we must not allow the foreign operators to destroy our local industry.
Industry has been so protected over a long period of time. Today, most of our airlines are under receivership with AMCON. And just like the last speaker has said, the bilateral agreements and provisions are there, but the capacity to utilize them is a problem with our airline industries.
The Central Bank of Nigeria says banks will no longer get interest on deposits above 2 billion naira. In a circular signed by Angela Serere Jembi, Director of the Financial Markets Department of the Apex Bank, the bank said Monetary Policy Committee will determine the interest for standing deposit facility of 2 billion naira. Sere Ejembi added that the SDF deposit of 2 billion naira would be remunerated at the interest rates prescribed by the Monetary Policy Committee from time to time. The provisions of the circular took effect on July 11, 2019. Stock market review is up next after this break. High-cap stocks came stumbling on the Nigerian Stock Exchange today, and leading the pack, of course, as we can see on the chart, is Nestle. The stocks of Airtel Africa has been unable to keep up with the momentum it started with after making its debut on the NSE. It started with listing with 399 naira, but as we can see today, Airtel Africa is down to 323.5 naira. It closed 10% higher on Tuesday, and since then it's been on a downward slope. From almost 40 naira loss yesterday, the value of Airtel Africa's share price is now further down by 35 naira, and as I said earlier, to 323.5 kobo. And moving on, coming right next to Airtel is its main rival, MTN Nigeria, as you can see on the chart. Both stocks are at par today, with MTN also shedding 3 naira to close at 130 naira, while Cement Company of Northern Nigeria declined by 1 naira 5 kobo to close at 13.85 naira. Consequently, we see that the effect of this on the all-share index. The all-share index actually lost 544 points, down to the 28,000 benchmark, compared with the 29,256 basis points achieved in previous session. However, despite the gloomy record, sustained investors' interest paid off for stocks like Guarantee, Nigeria Breweries, and we also see WAPCO and Corn Oil PLC chalking up gains in the Nigerian stock market today. In summary, the total value of shares traded today stood at 3.174 billion naira, and that was realized in a total of 3,105 deals. So global stocks now, we see that FTSE 0.28% underperforming with this particular 0.28% decline, while the Dow surpassed the 27,000 mark for the first time ever, boosted by bets that the Federal Reserve is poised to cut interest rates for the first time in a decade. And we see same for Nikkei as well, climbing by 0.51%. So that's it on Stock Market Review today. It's back to Aneta.
Thanks for that, Oyi. I mean, the stock markets this week began on a positive note, and I must say that was a very unexpected turn, seeing how the stock markets have wrapped up yesterday and today.
Of course, the market is unpredictable these days.
Definitely. Now, moving on, in Pakistan, at least 15 people have been killed and over 70 others injured in a collision between a passenger train and a stationary freight train near the central town of Rahim Yakhan in Pakistan. Senior police official Umar Salamat told local media the collision took place because the passenger train was diverted onto the incorrect track at the station, hitting the packed freight train. Rescue operators are on the way at the collision site, and an investigation had been launched to determine the causes of the incident. Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan has expressed his condolences to the victim and their families. He has also ordered Railways Minister Sheikh Ahmed to speed up work on the country's rail infrastructure. The Court of Arbitration for Sport on Thursday overturned the decision by the International Olympic Committee, IOC, to impose a lifetime ban on the former Russian Deputy Prime Minister, Vitaly Mutko. However, it added that the IOC retains the right to take any future decision with regard to any specific edition of the Olympic Games. The IOC had banned Mutko from all future Olympics in December 2017 because of his involvement in the scandal surrounding blanket doping in Russia, notably during the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi when he was sports minister. Russia was later banned from the 2018 Winter Games in Pyeongchang, although 168 athletes were allowed to compete as Olympic athletes from Russia. And that's all from here on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. Many thanks for watching. I am Aneta Felix. Bye for now.